It's Wednesday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Morayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Miriam Longe! Is that? All your fans have been asking of you. Where did she go?
I know.
Someone sent me a message yesterday. Did she jackpot? I'm like, well, let's resume it tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm doing amazing. I have felt the love. I mean, my DMs, personal messages through other people to find out I'm fine, I'm well. It was just important to take some time off. You know, sometimes you need to cut out the noise and you're able to now refocus and know, you know, where you're headed. So that's what I did. It also gave me the opportunity to see some of my friends I haven't seen in a while. It was just good to also connect, you know, with family and friends that I haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah, like a regular.
Yeah. So it was an important time to take away, but I miss the show. I miss you ladies, of course, you know.
Did you get to watch the show at all?
A few times, a couple of times, not so. Because I slept a lot.
In the morning.
Yes, I enjoyed my sleep and of course, you know, I went to a few places and the love for the show is massive, you know. So I'm just so grateful to be part of that kind of impact that we're making in this country. And thank you, our viewers, for constantly loving us, watching us, and you know, supporting us. Happy to be back.
Oh, good to have you back.
Thank you.
Yeah. And how's your weekend?
Weekend amazing. Wow. I mean, the banter is plenty, unless you give me the whole banter. We enjoyed our retreat. Amazing. Yes, I didn't go to the club. I planned not to do that because I had something had to be, you know, to do on Sunday. But the retreat was just fabulous. MD, well done, Madam MD. I'm just so proud of you. You know, while we were there, one of the Novotel staff was like, he was talking to his staff as he was working. He was like, that woman is a real MD. She organized everything. I was like, yeah, that's my MD. So we had a fantastic time. So good. Well done.
How are you doing, Nima Akashat Zabiri?
Fine. I forgot my niece's birthday on Monday. Salsi did not forgive me. She was just like, Auntie Nima, you forgot my birthday. So my dear Salma, I call her Salsi Salma. Happy birthday. I hope you're watching. I know you're watching today's public holiday. I love you dearly from the bottom of my heart. I seriously do love you, and I'm sorry that I forgot your birthday. I wish you many healthy, prosperous years on earth. I love you. Salma.
It's a beautiful name, Salma.
Hey,
John 10. So that was
that's a big age.
Yes, me too. We're turning 10 very soon. Drama 2, how you doing?
I'm doing very well. It's just that yesterday on Facebook, I offended my mom.
What happened?
Because every time I make a comment on Facebook, she's there. She will call me. Hello,
Monetary spirits.
Comment. That's her mom. That comment made. It's not right now. And I was like, I just reviewed myself and I was like, Facebook, it is friend, not mother. So
I love this.
Let me wait for Facebook to invent the one for mothers, then I'll add her as a mother. But for now, friend, no.
Mother, we need a mother book.
That is so
like
beautiful. Your gadgets, just you?
Yeah, it's you.
Thank you. Nice, good. I'm so happy about that.
And the retreat was so lovely. I had a wonderful time. Nice time with lovely ladies, and we shared ideas. And of course, I really saw how I could improve. And everything. Thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity.
All right, so it's May Day and Happy Workers' Day. All of us who are working, those who are working, many people are home today resting. We deserve this day. Honestly, I was like, oh my goodness, your view. And after here, I'm going to wash up my face, get on my bed.
Do that.
On my bed till tomorrow.
Yes, you're not going like this.
You know, we don't trust her, but I will say this, but
I will be on my bed. Okay, you ask me tomorrow.
Okay.
Let's go to a short break. When we come back, you go to the front pages of the paper. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're going to start with the nation. Public servants, military, police get 35% consolidated pay rise. Reps invite minister over lingering petrol scarcity. EFCC to arraign Emefiele May 15th on 3 counts amended charge. North governors and renew battle to end out-of-school children menace. Lagos spent 849 million on bursary. Drama over sitting arrangement in Senate. Tinubu to lead 25 years of democracy walk on May 29th. And Nigeria's VAT collection lowest in Africa, says Abbas. Okay, which story?
Major headlines.
Major headline.
Good news. yesterday, which is the eve of the Workers' Day, the federal government has approved an increase of between 25% and 35% in salary for civil servants on the remaining consolidated salary structure, which is the Consolidated Public Service Salary Structure, CONPSS, Consolidated Research and Allied Institution Salary Structure, CONRAISS, Consolidated Police Salary Structure, COMPOS, Consolidated Paramilitary Salary Structure, CONPAS, and Consolidated Intelligence Community Salary Structure, CONIX, Consolidated Army Forces Salary Structure, CONAFS. The federal government okayed that 20 to 28% increase for pensioners enrolled in the defined benefit scheme under the same consolidated salary as above. So for all those on that scheme, various salary structure I took, there will be an increase for pensioners whose pensions increment will take effect from January 1st in 2025. Sorry, it took effect in January 1st, 2024. So they're already on that structure. Okay. And this was announced at all the various meetings of labor happening across board. You know, they have the consolidated salary committee that the president had put in place for this meeting. So this consolidated salary is the amount a person gets for work done on a monthly basis, and it consists of all their entitlements put together without specifically stating any breakups in between.
Yeah. Okay. So me, I came back to drama. I was so excited. They said there was drama in the Senate. They were fighting over seats. I was like, hey, let us hear gist. No gist, though. They said that this drama that we think that they had, they did not have any drama. So, yes, they said, first of all, that they resumed, of course, plenary, and that we remember they had gone away because the chamber was being renovated. They had postponed actual resumption twice because of it, but then they resumed. And so that story that we heard is not true. We had Senate Yemi Adaramodu, APC Ekiti. He denied the quarrel. He says, first of all, let me tell you people, there was no disagreement, rancor, or any verbal tirade in respect of sitting arrangements in the Senate. He says it's important to know, pertinent is what he used, that rankings of senators and leadership positions are considered. And all legislators all over the world know and accept this tradition. So why would they come and be fighting over something that they already know about? He says this is, of course, he blames people who are of bad behavior for this story. And he says the general public should please disregard this odious song of sorrow from these incorrigible wholesalers and retailers of falsehood. He says what they are interested in, you know, they're talking about insecurity, they're talking about collaborating with the president and this administration to see Nigeria going forward. This is all that they're talking about. Any other gist is from the pit of hell.
It's the person that off mic.
Yeah. Okay, so this story is very passionate to me. It's about the northern governors. Now the northern governors have seen the light. They have decided to come together and promote the region finally in terms of literacy in that region. The literacy level in that region is the highest in the world, according to UNICEF. So the northern governors have renewed the battle against out-of-school children menace in this region. The governors at a meeting in Kaduna pledged to pursue human capital development with vigor to rid their states of the unacceptably high out-of-school children syndrome. The chairman of the Northern Forum, Gombe State Governors, Inua Yaya, expressed regret that the number of out-of-school children in the north is the highest in the world. According to UNICEF, over 3 million children of primary and secondary school age are out of school in the north. So I think this will bring something very fruitful at the end of the day. The Almajiri menace will stop very soon, and then the region will move forward.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, so the EFCC said that on May 15th, there will be arraigning former CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele at the Federal High Court in FCT, Abuja. In the fresh charge filed against him, the FCC alleged that Emefiele disobeyed the direction of the law with intent to cause injury to the public during his implementation of the narrow swap policy of the administration of the former President Buhari. The anti-graft agency also accused Emefiele of unlawfully approving the withdrawal of 124.8 billion naira from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation. According to NAN, the agreement was earlier stated before Justice Marian Aneni, but was then, however, he was not present, so the court was then adjourned for Emefiele to be standing trial by May 15th. So we'll look forward to that, but it's good that that is still ongoing. Moving on quickly now to the Punch. Workers' Day Labour laments rising food prices and fuel crisis. Picture here, pregnant woman, 8 others injured in Lagos gas explosion. 155 stranded Nigerians repatriated from Libya. FG offers free ride as Port Harcourt-Aba train service resumes. 200 billion naira debt. Ipman threatens closure of 30,000 filling stations. Dangote refinery gets valid operating license soon, says federal government. FG raises salaries of military, police, others. And Naira rebounds as dollar supply hits $7 billion in 2 months. Interpol pursues extradition of the Binance chief from Kenya. Okay, let's take one story. Who was that?
The Binance chief, the one that escaped our NSA's custody, has been arrested in Kenya.
Yes. And
Nigeria is already doing all the processes. According to the Vice President of Interpol Africa, he said efforts are ongoing. He said because, you know, the Kenyan government have their own laws. For every country, there is a law. And if a fugitive escapes, there are processes which that country must require us to follow. So Interpol is doing everything. They will provide information to assist Kenya and inform them about all the bilateral agreements that they have, the MOU that they have, and the signed conventions that they have entered into with us in the past. And hopefully by next week.
Yeah. Why did he go to Kenya? Is that where they caught him down?
I'm shocked.
We need to find.
To hear in this story that he's a Britain Kenyan. I thought he was an Asian. So he's actually an African. He's a Britain Kenyan.
Okay, well.
So he went home.
So
they have arrested him there
at home.
In talks.
All right, let's take another story. I think we can afford one more story.
Okay. So we have the federal government on Tuesday inaugurated train operation on the Port Harcourt-Aba rail line for use by members of the public with 4 days free ride. So I think this is amazing news. I like to come to, positive news. So this, the Minister of Transportation, Senator Saidu Al-Ali, inaugurated services on the 62 kilometers Port Harcourt-Aba corridor at the railway station in Port Harcourt. So this particular rail, he says that would link ports of Onne, Bonny, and Port Harcourt to facilitate evacuation of goods and sundry freight through the Eastern Corridor. The commencement of operations along the section will boost economic activities between the South-South and Southeast regions. And as we know, it's Mr. CCECC that's in charge of this project, and they're also going to keep pushing them towards the speedy completion of and delivery of the 181 kilometers Aba-Enugu stretch. Also, for safety, the minister and his entourage, as well as some members of the public, boarded the train for a ride to Abia State. So, it's safe to go on that train. So this is good news.
Trains bringing up in different parts of the world.
Yes.
Love that.
Very soon,
Let's go on the short break. When we come back, we continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So I'll take the picture story in Punch. So a yet to be identified pregnant woman and 8 others sustained varying degrees of injury following a gas explosion that occurred at the Alaba Lane, Alaya Biagba community in the Ajegunle Apapa area of Lagos State. According to reports by the Fire and Rescue Service, they said that the preliminary inquiry revealed that there was a possible leakage at the store. So what happened was that he added that the fire destroyed 4 commercial tricycles, 6 lock-up stores, and a portion of the bungalow building. So the several different gas cylinders were traded in that area, and one of them was set off by a possible leakage that broke a high-tension cable and started the fire. Preliminary investigation revealed that several various gas cylinders traded also connected it to the high tension, and that's what caused all the fire. Unfortunately, I mean, nobody has died so far. All the survivors are receiving treatment at the trauma center in Bagada General Hospital here. Okay. Said 9 people have suffered different degrees of burns and injury, including a pregnant woman and child, an adult, male, female, who are recuperating at the Ajeromi General Hospital, Nogbagada. Okay. All right, there's another story in Punch. Okay, let's move on quickly now to the Nigerian Tribune. FG approves 25% and 35% salary increase for civil servants. Senators quarrel, point fingers over seat allocation. You've denied that. Reps to NERC, halt hike in electricity tariff. I signed Executive Order 10 to unlock 10 billion naira fresh oil gas sector investment, says Tinubu. Social media now priority for national security, says NSA. Emefiele faces fresh charges to be arraigned May 15th. Petrol scarcity, marketers to flood market with 300 million litres. Ipman agonizes over 200 billion naira debt. And Ogun government alerts residents of looming flood disaster. Which story in Tribune?
Okay, so I have the Executive Order 10 to unlock 10 billion fresh oil and gas investment. The president speaking at a 2-day retreat entitled Navigating Change, Legislative Strategies for Economic Transformation, gave insight into the Executive Order 10, which is meant to unlock about $10 billion fresh investment into the oil and gas sector. He was represented by the Chief of Staff to the President, and he spoke about, the opportunities, he says, because, oil has continued to be, or largely been the mainstay of our economy. He says his administration is working tirelessly to change this and diversify our economy from over-reliance on production of fossil fuel. And, however, they are determined to maximize the revenue potential of the oil and gas sector. And they also talked about how this Executive Order 10 is meant to also streamline contracting processes, procedures, and timelines from 36 to 6 months. And the order also seeks to ensure that local content requirements are implemented without impeding investment or cost competitiveness on the oil and gas sector. But I'll leave the tax collection issue. I think you have it from the speaker's point of view.
Yes, I have that in Vanguard. But what I have in the Tribune is the National Security Advisor, Malan Nuhurubahudu. He says social media has become an issue of national security under the new dispensation. This was in a meeting in Abuja with spokespersons of organizations under the umbrella of Strategic Communication Interagency Policy Committee. So he listed the preponderance of fake news, misinformation, and disinformation as threats to national security and public engagement. He says that some have become quite adept across the world at the use of social media platforms, to shape public opinion against citizens. He says this is a threat both global and local and presents an immediate and national security priority. So he's saying that that the security sector must address that use of media and social media platforms in creating division between citizens and government. Anyways, the whole gist of the matter is that this is a serious security threat now, the way it's being used by unscrupulous people to cause division. And so it's a matter of urgency for that department. And yes, I think we mainly agree that
absolutely.
to understand the threats.
Have a story?
Yes, I have a story on Dangote, the issuing of the license. The federal government on Tuesday announced that it was set to issue a fully valid operating license to the 650,000 barrels per day capacity Dangote Petroleum Refinery. The chief executive NMDPRA, Farouk Ahmad, told industry players and other stakeholders that it will issue a fully valid operating license to the refinery very soon, and 3 other refineries as well. They will soon all get their operating license. 15 gas facilities have valid licenses already. 1,199 facilities have valid license in the downstream industry. 176 operators hold gas import permits. 130 depots have valid license. 69 hold coastal vessel licenses. NMDPR has licensed in total 9,464 retail outlets as at 10 a.m. on the 30th of April 2024.
Okay. I was going to take the Ogun State government warning residents, so they're warning Waiki and others who live in the Ogun State. They want the residents in the flood-prone areas to relocate to safer locations.
Wow.
Or higher elevations because of the disaster that is looming. According to NAN, 20 states, I think, across the country, or 20 local governments were already informed about the imminent flood that is coming between the month of April and November. So according to the federal government, had written to about 31 states, actually, 31 states, including Ogun State, informing them of this flood coming up. The commissioner said that 16 out of 20 local governments within the state are expected to record heavy rainfall. So they're saying that state government was already making necessary arrangements to avert it. But however, it can be averted to ensure that people are safe. But if you're living in those areas, please begin to find higher ground or move completely.
Please, they should mention these higher grounds now, so that people know where to go.
Where to move to.
Not to just say higher ground.
The state should just move to Olumo.
The Olumo Rock.
Vanguard. Let's find the story of FG approves pay rise for workers as labor leaders lament hardship. Nigeria's VAT collection lowest in Africa, says Speaker Abbas. Sanwo-Olu restates commitment to improve lives in Lagos residents. And fuel scarcity, 8 vessels discharge over 300 million liters at Apapa and other ports. Okay, which story?
So the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Abbas Tajuddin, has decried that Nigeria's efficiency in collecting VAT, that's the value-added tax, was the lowest amongst its African peers. And he says that this is as a result of significant inefficiencies in the tax system. So he's saying that the 10th House is ready to aid economic policies and programs of the president's of this administration. He also says engagement with stakeholders on laws governing finance, tax, and all subsectors of the economy with the aim of causing positive reforms. You know, basically, I read through it. He's just saying their focus is going to be on tax reforms, modernization, as well as review of the implementation of the Petroleum Industry Reform Act 2021. And everything is just to make sure that our nation's economic landscape, you know, is better, that is geared towards recovery, growth, and sustainable development.
Okay, so I have the fuel scarcity. According to the chairperson of MEMAN is the Major Energy Marketers Association of Nigeria, and the MD of NNPC Retail Limited. They are, of course, first of all, empathizing with Nigerians over this hardship. But the chairman of MEMAN says that he wants to reassure, he says, let me quote him, MEMAN deeply empathizes with Nigerians facing the challenges occasioned by the current availability of PMS and the resulting queues at many retail outlets. We can see the frustration and difficulties this situation is creating. The downstream regulator, NMDPR, and other key stakeholders across the value chain are fully engaged and supportive to eliminate the queues as we speak. Our top priority is to restore stability and ensure that fuel supplies reach all depots and retail outlets. And while this situation has been challenging, we currently have our members taking products from 8 vessels this week. Over 300 million liters of PMS right now are being, distributed, and hopefully very soon we will not have the queues anymore. So I want to be reassured. I'm reassured that I will not go and suffer today because I came on a yellow pointer to work. Hoping that I'll be able to report to this week.
Yeah.
All right, let's see if there's any story here. Let's just read the headlines. Inflation, Naira depreciation plunge Nigerians to lowest wage earners. That's The Guardian. Uzodinma appoints himself as Commissioner for Lands. Obi fault work on Lagos-Calabar highway amid protests. Reps NBA Falana Huriwa seek reversal of electricity tariff hike. Operatives repel attack as terrorists abduct 4 in Katsina. May Day, FG approves salary increase for civil servants. Okay, I think that is all we can take on today's review. Let's go on a short break. When we come back, we continue with the show. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
for staying with us. Last month, more than 1.9 million candidates took the computer-based examination to rank candidates seeking the admission to Nigeria tertiary institutions, according to the registrar of JAMB, Professor Oluyede. The 2024 UTME results, 76% results of the scored below 200. Now, as you know, the JAMB score is 400 max, and anything below 200, obviously, is below 50%. So he's saying that 76% of those who sat for JAMB scored below 200 on the JAMB. We'll be discussing this year's performance, what could be responsible for this abysmal outing, what is wrong with the education sector, and what is wrong with young people, if I may ask, or is it the parents in part? What are your thoughts on the results? I'll give you specifics now. I think I have some of the exact figures from a report that I got. I'll look for those numbers to tell you that I think it was about 4,000 or so. I'll get the numbers, but the point is 76% scored below 200, and that in itself is heartbreaking. What are your thoughts when you saw these reports? Who would like to go first? Nima?
With JAMB, really, for me, based on experience, it is not a test for brilliance or intelligence as far as I'm concerned. It's an entrance exam, and some people have the skills, some people don't. So it's something that, you know, it's okay to try again at. But just this week, on Monday, I took a story concerning JAMB where even students who had over 3,300, who had scored above 300 JAMB mark in the exams within a period of time, who did not get admission. About 4,100 and something of them couldn't get placement in any institution in Nigeria. And that's the highest I have seen of JAMB. I think 200 used to be the norm, so you have between 200 and 300, and you're considered a merit, a good score. But when you have 300 above, a merit student, why would a merit case not have admission in any of the institutions? Because, you know, they still have to deal with post-UTME requirements. So some of these issues for me are administrative. They are not a test of any child's skill or brilliance or intelligence. That's personally how I see it.
I think for me, it's a combination of both, administrative, the systems, as well as, you know, the children and maybe also parenting and the educational system, really. The JAMB, as I understand it, is supposed to be a test of, you know, as you said, not of intelligence, but also it's to test the level of, you know, participation and then go into universities. It's sort of to also get data. Mm-hmm. Do you understand? And so, having said that, what I think is happening, this is also because I've heard from a few people that the introduction of the CBT, the computer-based test, has brought a lot of these problems as well. People are still trying to understand that. That's one. Secondly, we have the fact that even in the system of administration, there are lots of mistakes that are happening. Someone will get a message from JAMB saying your center is at this particular point. You go to write it, then you get another text message that same morning saying, so there are so many issues going on. And the combination of these issues is what is affecting the numbers. That's what I believe. There's also the part of children now on social media, whether we like it or not. A lot of our children are on social media. The time that we used to have, especially if you're a boarder, where you are supervised, you are, you know, you follow a timetable, a time schedule to study. If you're a day student, you are likely to be distracted. You know, during our time, we'll be distracted by just TV. But now here, they have social media 24/7. And it's not just with this level of education. I've even heard in my children's school, one of the PTA meetings, we had the headmistress say that parents, you need to sit up. Your children are distracted. They know so much about social media, and we're not seeing as much effort in their schoolwork. And so we would see that reflect in students at this level as well. So we need to encourage our children to understand what is important, to study harder, to put the distractions aside. Parenting as well, we need to be more vigilant with what our children are doing, what they are watching. And school has to be with timetables teachers too need to be more vigilant. You know, this distraction is not just students. I see teachers as well. They are distracted. You have a teacher who is supposed to be taking a class or doing something, and they are also on their social media in between, you know. So all of us, in one way or the other, we have allowed social media to take away our attention, and it will show in many ways. It will show in our education. It will show in the sort of work that we do and how we carry out in our even our parenting. But I think with JAMB is a combination of both. This computer-based test, we need to do better. The system of sending people messages has to be done better. The marking as well has to be more efficient. So those are the things I feel.
I thought that the computer-based, the error margin was supposed to be reduced. That's why we have a computer-based. So I'm surprised to hear that some of these things have issues. But what are your own thoughts?
Okay, but some of the students are not very conversant with computers. They don't know how to use these computers.
There are young people that are more conversant with computers. Is it old people that are more conversant with computers? I don't get
you have to be exposed to the computer now as a young person.
On the computer itself, too. They need to know how to answer questions on the computer. I think our youth, they are already becoming discouraged with the system somehow. Because after writing JAMB, they still need to go and write post-UME to enter the university. So most of them tend to concentrate on social media where they can make fast money. And they are beginning to forget about what will I use the result to do.
Right.
And most of the time, they're always like, oh, it's just something that I'll go in, spend 4 years and come out. I will not use the result to actually practice what I went to read in school.
We'll come to that in a second, Ramatu, because you're absolutely correct. The fact that even the mentality of a lot of young people are changing towards education.
Yes.
But going back to this, I don't want us to make excuses for these kids because they take phones and they're able to operate the phones. Yes, aside from texting and emailing, they can do so many other things with the phones, and yet you tell them they cannot answer. And the computer, I've seen one of those tests. They're really foolproof. They're like very basic. I mean, I've done some work with the Ministry of Education, and I have a sample of what it looks like. It's really, really easy. So I don't want to use that as an excuse that it's difficult for them to understand how to use these computer-based exams. Because let me give you the data of what we have, the results. It says about 0.5%, 8,401 scored about 300. 4.2%, about 77,000, scored above 250. 24%, which is about 39,000, scored above 200. Now, 76%, that's 1.4 million children, scored below 200. Now, we're saying that this 1.4 had issues with, maybe some of them had issues with the computer, some of them had issues with studying. What exactly? That's a huge number.
It's a contribution of plenty factors.
Yes.
One of them is the CBT.
Yes.
One constantly prevailing issue is the CBT system, the check-in system, the abuses that happen at JAMB centers, some of them. So let's leave the intelligence and preparedness of a child. We'll get there. It's important to talk about that. Or we cannot just absorb JAMB of any liability in this. I have reports. Several times I've registered someone for JAMB. This particular guy has an issue picking up his thumbprint. He will go to JAMB weeks before the exam. He'll be accused of funny intentions. He knows his thumbprint is an issue. He keeps coming. No, until the exam day, we will pay for JAMB. He won't be able to write the exam. We won't be able to follow up back to how his exam is done. If he finishes, if somebody allows him write an exam, he will still have issues. Now, for somebody who resumes a CBT center late, whose system is faulty, it is entirely his problem whether he passes the exam. JAMB does not have any liability on whether the system they have provided at their CBT centers that they have approved is faulty on the part of a person who paid for an exam and he couldn't fulfill his exams because of a fault on the centers. Yeah, so you will now find people coming out of exam centers dissatisfied, trying to reach out to JAMB, dissatisfied again because nobody is responding. And that person's result will come up maybe because he could only get maybe 10 minutes time on the system, but the system shut down before it was done. And JAMB will not take responsibility.
I hear you, Nima.
So those are a collection of plenty issues.
I agree with you. I don't want us to make that front and center because the children too, they have their own faults.
You know that Miriam and Ramatu are here for that.
You must also give it the attention.
I'm here for JAMB.
You must also give it the attention it deserves because it's always easy to point the finger like, oh, it's JAMB that caused the problem. But the truth is that 1.4 million children cannot have this issue. You
are very correct.
So there's also a huge part because 80,000 didn't show up.
Yes.
64,000 were withheld were results under investigation.
Can I talk about those not showing up?
There are different factors that could have caused that.
Plenty factors. But those not showing up could also mean when we buy JAMB form for somebody in Lagos here, and center turns out to be Wole Soyinka,
and it happens
in Shagamu. How come? When we wrote JAMB, your JAMB center was at the place where you purchase. That was how we were sent to our centers. You could not be in Lagos and your CBT center is in outside Lagos. It's not possible. I don't know how it is now, but when Zainab wrote JAMB, when I bought her JAMB form, I had to find someone to follow her to Ijebu to go and write it from Lagos at the CBT center. So a lot of factors. JAMB needs to do something. I know. I cannot even for JAMB. I am a fan of the DG of JAMB.
Yeah.
I love Professor Oloyede. I know his work. But I'm saying you cannot just wash JAMB's hands clean totally from this result issue. It cannot be, oh, all the children, all 80,000 of them chose not to pass their exams. What is JAMB doing to ensure that the system continues to get better every year?
Okay, so that's a question for JAMB.
It's important. And
definitely, you're right. So, as you said, there are multiple factors. Who's not going to deal with the factors of the children?
The children.
Yeah.
Making attention, because the truth is that, as Ramatu rightly said, the mentality of young people today is going back to review if education is actually necessary. For them, JAMB is too stressful a deal, it's too stressful a hurdle to pass the success. But they don't even need it because some of them are already making money on the phones already in some of the secondary schools. So what are your own thoughts on what, I mean, I know you've already professed some solutions on what parents can begin to do to change the mindset, because many people don't think education is that important anymore.
I don't know if I totally agree with Ramatu, where she's saying that many of the children would rather be doing business. I don't know. Maybe I'm not, because I don't have children at that level yet. But at that level, I feel that many children are still. So we're talking of people who are teenagers about to go into university. So for me, a lot of them really just want to get into school. But for different reasons, of course. Of course, we know those who want to escape home and just be able to go into university. And then for many Nigerian students, the reason that they write the JAMB is because they want to, they want to move further in their education. And if they were making that much money, then maybe they will fall under those who did not show up. Because why would you go all the way if you're making money? I just think that it has to do, basically, I think mostly it has to do with our preparedness for exams. There is a problem with that. And, I'll just be reiterating, what I said, which is we're distracted mainly. Basically, that's all that's happening. And if we're distracted, the way that exams are, are set, you would not be prepared for it. You would fail. And I've seen these conversations like abroad when they talk about it, like the developed countries. They too are talking about their numbers falling as well. But with them, I feel that they try to step up the curriculum or their system to match the changing world. And I don't know if we are ready to do that, which is, do we do more video-based exams because our children are more attracted or, more visual these days? Are we willing to look at the way that the world is evolving right now and then set our exams in such a way that can capture a child's attention these days? I don't know. Or is it better to just stick to the way it is so that a child understands that you need to work for some things. You need to earn something, you need to work for it. It does not have to be easy. It does not have to be convenient. You have to do the work. So those are the things that we'll have to look at going forward. Concerning the systems, that's a major part. I know we don't want to give excuses, but that is also an important part. Our systems are just, we're trying every year, to do better. Yeah. And there'll always be mistakes here and there. And the casualty definitely will be the students. So the JAMB has to take responsibility for for that part that it plays. But concerning studying, we just need to discuss with our children to do better. But can we compare with WAEC if they are doing worse or doing better?
Take this call from Atat from Port Harcourt. You're live. Thanks for calling. Hello? Hello, Atat, are you there? Okay, so I saw some reactions online saying that, just like Miriam said, excessive social media use, lack of motivation, even food insecurity has significant factors affecting poor children's performances. Depends on where you're from. So these are some of the factors as people are saying. Nima.
So let me go back to now the students. There's an important part of preparing for exams that, our young people do not understand. Having mentored someone to write an exam, I used to, when I registered this girl, I left her to study. I would say, study, read your books, and I'll come back and say, don't worry, auntie, because her friends kept telling her there's an arrangement. So I said, that arrangement will fail you.
JAMB?
For WAEC.
WAEC.
WAEC. I kept saying that arrangement will fail you. You cannot use that to go into an exam. I know, she went for the center. Fortunately, it failed her. She failed woefully, in fact. I was happy about it. And then I put her through how we used to prepare for exams. If I went home, I got my books, I sat with her, I'll come back every evening and made her intentional about the exam. It was her first JAMB and she got admitted. She's graduated now.
Well done.
So it's the work that most people think. At that age, you listen to more of your peers than your parents. And so life must happen before you come back and say, Daddy and Mommy, what did you say? Then there's the part of parents who think it's possible to buy exam results for their children.
What are we teaching them?
So what are we teaching? We see that it happens. We have magic centers, miracle centers, and all of those centers, which is why JAMB had to continue to improve security-wise to ensure that this does not affect their exams. But then there's a part of JAMB not even being.
Let me go on a very short break. When we come back, we continue with this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing the poor rate of the JAMB scores this past examination. And Ramatu was going to say something.
Okay, so most of the children are not prepared. Some of them are not prepared, actually, because my sister invigilates at the JAMB center and some of the JAMB centers. And she was like, sometimes the systems will be down. As a child is, typing, writing, and, answering questions, the system will just go off.
Shut down.
To just shut down. And then before they reboot the system and, before the person starts writing again, it takes about maybe sometimes 30 minutes into the time. And most of the time, the questions is always, I think they give them just an hour to answer these questions. By that time, time has already gone. So they just come, they just tick anything just to meet up with time.
Thank you for that lovely answer.
Yes. So they just tick and just to make up with time and all. And also, too, the stress of Nigeria, too, is affecting
Ramatu, you're trying.
Nigeria, too, is
Are you
affecting.
trying to make it?
Excuses for these children.
On that technology.
Yes.
We're on this table for years saying that make this thing use technology. Technology resolves a lot of things. It reduces the margin of error, makes it at least you can easily have the data. All this data you get is because we have technology. However, if we're not able to execute the technology optimally for the children, whose fault is that? So JAMB has to come and let us know how optimal their systems are for the examination. It's a major problem.
Yeah. For verified cases, you know corruption is everywhere. And we know these children too, they grow fast. Somebody can make an excuse of a failed system to, to sort of beat the system, the security system JAMB has put in place. But for those verified cases, those legitimate cases, they should not have rockets, it's not rocket science to solve that problem. If a child comes in, there should be an incidence form they can fill at the center that, my system failed, signed by the invigilator. Someone should be there to sign and approve that this happened to this student. And that is taken to JAMB. There must be a remake system exam for that child before you can verify and say 80,000 of all of you failed. You must also be sure to say if a full center, has failure in their power system, it should not be rocket science for JAMB to admit that that center must have a remake, no matter the number of students that they were scheduled to have exams for. Some of these issues are many and are simple to solve.
It would be great to have JAMB come on the show to tell us exactly what measures. I would like to believe that some of these, there are measures that have been put in place to redress some of these things that can happen. So I would like to believe that, Professor Oloyede has found it.
The PRO.
The PRO, the PRO. Let me take this call. Abdullahi from Ojodu. Thanks for calling. Oh, I'm sorry, we lost that call. Mary, what's
yes, I was just going to say that concerning technology, the truth is, in many parts of our country, many other departments and ministries, we have these same issues as well. But I also want to believe, especially with the leadership of JAMB, as we know, this is a hardworking man who has proven himself over time. I think if there's like a general shutdown or a systems failure, it would be captured by invigilators as well. I hope it means that those ones will be given another opportunity to write, because I know that sometimes when there are issues like that, JAMB would recall, but it does not capture everyone. Some students would insist, you know, they had issues and they were still just failed instead of giving another opportunity to write. But this does not take away from the fact that many of our children are not concentrating on the schoolwork, are not prepared for exams. I still hope that someone can give me like what do you call it now? Comparison between WAEC and JAMB to see if the students are doing as bad or better at WAEC. But I believe that social media is such a distraction. It used to be such a big thing for us. We used to have after school tutoring. You have those tutoring centers. Then you have lessons at home and books to teach you how to prepare for exams.
Let me pause you for a second. I have Atas. He called back. I don't want to lose him again. Atas, are you there?
I'm there, Morayo. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Miriam, my love, welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I actually loaded airtime. I see my village super must call Miriam today on the show.
Oh.
Good to have you back. Our #1 environmentalist is back on the show. Good to have you. Welcome.
Thank you.
And back to what we're talking about. Firstly, I need to say that I'll start the blame from the parents, right? And people would want to say, why am I saying that? The reason is we have stopped being parents to our kids, whereby you push your child. Your child is not supposed to be in JSS1, JSS2, but you are pushing. And these are the consequences. We see WAEC and NECO, the standard is dropping. Because the kids who are sitting for this JAMB are not yet mentally ready for it. That's #1. #2 is our public institutions. You have somebody who is in SS2. What are they exactly teaching that person? I have someone who came from the village, JSS3 student, cannot read and write. We had to take her back to basic 5. So you have somebody like that going to sit in for JAMB. The question is, how are you going to pass? So we need to treat, if you're in a public school, for you to have a chance in passing JAMB first and square, you need to go for an extramural class. And how many Nigerians can afford this? That's #1. #2, can parents start parenting? Let your child focus on his or her studies. Stop pushing and stop paying. When you pay for them to sit for WAEC, pay for them to sit for NECO, even for junior WAEC now, people are paying 253K for them to sit for junior WAEC, not even senior WAEC. And then we expect these people to have mental capacity to sit for JAMB. Last but not the least is the fact that most of the students who are going to sit for CBT exam, most of them, this is like the first time they are having access to systems. Imagine a child from a public school. How many times have they used the system? So even when the system is not that bad as we think, because they are not efficient in using it, there's a problem during the process. Then lastly, can JAMB please make students sit closer to them? I have somebody in this JAMB that missed her exam because they took her to a different local government. And they don't know anybody, neither do they have money to lodge in a hotel. So these are some of the factors that I think if we tackle will be solved. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, that was
very much. That was good. Any other comments on social media before we wrap up this?
So Prof on Twitter is saying, so Inakena, I was going to take him. He says, we must absolve ourselves absolutely from JAMB as a sole source of admission into our tertiary institutions. It is, and it is important to allow individual institutions conduct their own entrance exams. This will curtail the idleness of our children waiting to pass JAMB and become frustrated and discouraged with the system. And this has now snowballed into the apathy and increasing low percentage of pass in their exams. This is why post-UTMEs were done. But Prof has a very strong point in the sense that we have to wait. every once a year for the JAMB exams. You know, that waiting period that the child just has to, sometimes the child forgets to prepare. Just think, oh, it's still far away, before you know it's already at your doorstep. Can we have JAMB as soon as the child is ready with their WAEC results? Take JAMB this month, you fail, you try again next month. It shouldn't be all year apart, that 1 year apart. We felt it then, because I had to continue to try to get cut off for the particular course of study. And I had to wait every year. So once they bring admission out and I did not meet it, like, then I'll start all over waiting for the next year's exams.
I think
one of the rationale.
Yes, I can imagine the administrative wahala that would happen if we were able to do it, if we were doing it every other month, maybe twice a year. Yes, or quarterly, you know, I just think it would be a lot.
But you see, with all these too many people, you can even space out CBT centers. So imagine that as soon as you're ready, you go to the body, you buy your exams. JAMB does not have to write an exam for 7 million people. Maybe that month, just 3,000 people want to write nationally. They space you out to all your centers. No confusion, no wahala.
But won't there be too many people on ground if they do it quarterly or twice in a year? There will be too many people to go into university.
That's the point.
And then not the university that can absorb
them. Let me take Kendi. Thanks for calling, Kendi.
Yeah, good morning.
Morning, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Okay, my own contribution to this is the problem in this is the parents, particularly. Really need to do a lot on it. Because let me give you a little scenario now. My cousin did this job as well. So during the time she was preparing, I was putting her through, that was on phone. Then she had little distractions, which is what? Boyfriend, with her boyfriend. I was like, you are too young to have this boyfriend. And I can tell you the truth that mostly 80% of these our youth that are writing down, most of them are distracted through relationship, and I don't think that's the best thing for them. So parents need to look after their children. They don't need any guys or any ladies in their life right now, because lately now social media has taken over. I saw one post on Insta blog and Gossip Mill this morning before I decided to call. The lady posted a video and said, "Look at me preparing for my JAMB," and she posted another video again with her guy being rubbish on social media. I was like, hey, these people don't have family.
Thank you very much, Kendi, for this, because this is because as I said, we can blame JAMB all we want, we can even blame parenting all we want, but the truth is that many of these young people, many of them, they are, just as you said, distracted, not just by social media, relationships, stuff. There's so many things, so many vices that is distracting them from what is important. Now, parenting is part of that, because parents are supposed to be the ones to guide them, to ensure they are focused on the right thing. But sometimes peer pressure is there. So, I mean, there's...
So these distractions have always been there. Do you understand? But we're seeing in a large number. So is it a strictly parental problem? Are we saying parents have stopped being parents and unable to guide children? Or are we saying that schools are unable to do what they're meant to do in educating children and focusing them on what's important? Or do we just have more human beings in the world, and so it seems like there are more children who are doing these things? Because boyfriend issue has always been there. We've always had those who were distracted because they had one relationship or the other. I don't know if you went to school, but yeah, you have teenage pregnancies. It happened, but it will be one person in 4 years or one person in a class. It wasn't something that was so widespread. And the truth is, children have always been in two categories: those who are so focused, who are so determined, they know what they want, and they'll do anything to get there, you know. And if you have that kind of child, God, it's such a huge blessing. Yes, because, and then we have those children that are not ready. You will do everything as a parent. The school will do everything. You will change schools. You get teachers. There's nothing you don't do. You take them to church. You do deliverance. And they would not want to change, you know, until they are ready. And whenever they are ready, you know, God help you. But the truth is, the distractions are many. And I still put it on the fact that these are phones. When it was TV, I can come and turn off the TV. Do you understand? But now they can take their phones, they take their laptops. And then on the phones now, we have things like AI. I was just telling you, I've just noticed that there's a new app that's been downloaded on my phone. It's supposed to be like a math camera. So when I tapped on it, it showed that you can take your phone, and take a picture of the math problem, and it solves it for you. That is one of my child that has used my phone to do homework. So imagine the mindset, which is, when I have apps that can do it for me, why do I need to put in the work? You know, so sometimes not just parenting, that the world has given us so many more distractions. It's how to use those directions and redirect it in such a way that it empowers them that we need to figure out now.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And this is not just a conversation for us. It's more a conversation for JAMB and even the
as a body,
as a
because their
body.
business is not just exam, it's also grooming Nigerian future leaders. So yesterday I was talking to my help, and her granddaughter, brilliant girl, got a scholarship. There were only 4 students in the school, a public school, that got scholarship for JAMB. Because she was so brilliant, somebody bought her JAMB form and said, you know, they got scholarship. This is the girl who the grandma gave money for exams, and she said, you know, she just can't stand being corrected. They've been having back and forth. She's been calling out her grandma. And then she decided, okay, I'm going for my exams, but I won't come back home. So she went for JAMB, and they've not seen her.
What?
They've not seen her.
She,
and so when they kept calling, somebody said, oh, she's in another community down the road. And she said, I'm doing better here. You know, teenage issues are many. I just wish, you know, parents can have it easy. I pray for easy parenting myself. You know, so there are many. She now is not even dealing with any pregnancy. She's just having her tantrums and all of those teenage exuberances. Some brilliant girl, but look at how she's doing her own with her parents. So I pray for ease.
Okay, we're going to be wrapping up on this, but I'm just hoping that, you know, these results can serve as feedback, not just to parents, but also to government, to the federal government, to schools, and even to the students, because the truth is that the brand education has been destroyed, and we need something to build that brand, that knowledge brand. You know, Nigerians are one of the smartest humans across the world. Maybe the smartest black nation, I would say, across the world. And
even white.
Yeah, and people acknowledge us that we are the smartest. So I think we need to own that brand, build that brand, let Nigerians understand, especially the children understand. Listen, you are carrying a brand, you're carrying on a brand that people have used, have built over time. So we need to really rebrand that education, make them sell it back to Nigerians.
Excellence in education, excellence in all the TikTok things.
They don't buy it anymore, and they don't buy education as very necessary anymore. They just buy it as something you need on the side, but not a necessity.
Not the main,
not the main.
It's the side hustle now.
The side thing. Let us just pass so you can speak English.
Yes.
Once I can speak small English, I'm okay. And that needs to be fixed. Okay, let's go on a short break, but we just hope that results will get better, and parents, everybody takes us feedback to do better, hopefully for next year. Let's go on a short break. When we come back, we move to our next topic. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So earlier we're talking about distraction with the phone when young people are not passing their examinations. And a similar story came on social media where we had a nurse who was supposed to be caring for a pregnant woman in pain. She was obviously in labor. And it seems as though the nurse was taking a selfie and posted on social media. Now, there are various comments on this. People are saying that she could not be a real nurse. A real nurse wouldn't do that. Others are saying it is very unfair for her to do that. What are your thoughts, especially because in this new age of social media, everything is content. Everything is, and content, they say, is king. Content is what we want to see. Content is how you make numbers on your social media pages, and that's how you get revenue. Content is how you feed. Content is how you also impact the world. So in this new world, she saw an opportunity for content and she took it. What are your thoughts? 081-764-1679, 090-24163440. You can also tweet to us at TVC. Can I please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can retweet? Hopefully we can get an opportunity to show the video for a second. But what are your thoughts? Content. Everybody's looking for content. And this nurse, hopefully, I don't know if she's a real nurse, but some are suggesting she might not be a real nurse. But even if she is, what are your thoughts?
Even if she's not a real nurse, is she a real human being? Because she was standing over a woman who was obviously distressed and in labor, and she thought it was a time to be taking a video and smiling about it. It's really a sad situation. And you know what? Every time we're constantly talking about going for trainings to improve ourselves with really hard skills, we obviously need some soft skills. I mean, as a human being, forget the uniform that she's wearing. You're standing over someone who's distressed. That is not the time to be taking that sort of content. If the content is not the sort of content that you're trying to look for more help for her, or you're trying to figure out how to give her better help, then you shouldn't be taking it at all. We've seen people do these selfies at funerals. You see people taking this over a body who has, that's been declared or about to be declared, dead, and you're taking selfies. The family is not even aware that their family member has gone, but because of your content taking, you have put it on. We don't understand that there are some things that are so important and sensitive. And my grandma used to say, there are things that we used to do, she'll be so disgusted and embarrassed for us. Like, people will say you don't have home training. There's to be a time that when they said that to you, you'll be ashamed of yourself. Like to say you don't have home training, because at home, there are things that you are taught that we recognize you may not learn it in school, but you will learn it at home. Empathy, understanding sensitivity, just emotional intelligence. Where is it? Who is it? And then forgetting that, then who is consuming this sort of content? When we see videos like that, what do? I hope that that lady is properly dealt with. Yeah. I'm not saying she should lose her job, but she should.
She's young. I mean, mistake.
No, you know what? I think she's
that's not a mistake.
But she should go through a form of
disciplinary action.
Disciplinary action and rehabilitation. She should wear those my orange suits I like people to wear. And then go and sweep somewhere. And then go from one school to the other and teach them the things not to do with social media.
But Nima Ramatu, I mean, the reason why I said she's young, because young people, youthful exuberance. You do this kind of stuff. You think you're a nurse now. You have this opportunity. Hey, let me take the content. Maybe she shouldn't be. Her license shouldn't be withdrawn. I mean, I think that shouldn't be the. What are your thoughts?
In the hospital, I think he's totally wrong, honestly, because that woman is in pain, and you, Gen Z, I'm sure.
But there's nothing she could have done to reduce that pain.
But
selfie or not, you will still go through your labor pain.
Okay.
So it's not that there's nothing I can do. So I'm taking a selfie because I realize that, okay, you're in pain. Hey, sorry, but hey, it's going to happen.
But there are so many things she could do. She could be rubbing the lady's back, or be petting her, yes, or be rubbing her feet or something. She has to do something. She's a nurse. She's a caregiver. So she's supposed to show care, show love. I remember when I went to, when I was going to have my son, when I went to the hospital, the nurse, immediately she saw me, of course, is this your first child? No, my third child. And she was like, he's not yet ready for me to have my child. She was busy taking her selfie and all. Already, I just set her up. I was just looking at her. Well, I finished taking your selfie. When it was now time for her to check if I've dilated, if you see her nail, Jesus nail.
Yeah, a nurse.
Long nail. And she went to check if I had dilated. And I was like, with which nail, with which hand, which finger do you want to use? And she was like, madam, you're not ready. I was like, no, you can't do that.
Can you imagine that? She was ready
to check me with that long nail.
Ew.
And then
we have a problem.
And as she was doing that, once her phone rings, she would just pick it up, go out, say, excuse me. I was in labor, in pain.
That's the dirtiest thing you can hold.
In pain. And then she came and she was like, you're a Hausa woman. I was like, the Hausa women don't shout when they are in labor. I was like, you've met a different Hausa woman. I'm going to deal with you today. So this Gen Z thing, this
young nurse.
She was very young.
So too many things wrong with this video. Too many things.
Too many.
This story, you didn't get the permission of your co-participant in your video. You shouldn't have. Invading her privacy, her personal space. While she's in pain, in her vulnerability, you have put a camera to her face. And it's a popular thing that they call it skits. We see these contents where people enjoy it. Somebody will just come and set up some kind of, how do I put it? I don't want to say irritating, but embarrassing situation. And then put a camera to somebody's face, unprepared. Make a content of it. Put the person's face on all social media platforms while he's making money on that content. That person is being embarrassed nationally. I see some people do it with English speaking, and they put camera to some people's face. They go to some, suburban universities, interior universities, and put a camera to somebody's face as if English is the test of intelligence. Showing that you yourself, you lack intelligence. You put the camera, you ask the person a question, the person is graduating, and the person wasn't prepared. Your intention is not to teach the person, it's to further embarrass the person. The person just has 3 million views on somebody else's account.
So, but
And you run along with it. Now, you're in your professional capacity. You need not face your work. Because in that position, I don't even want you to have empathy alone. Be professional. What would you do?
But do you realize, Nima, that the woman in labor can be appreciative of that video, that, somebody caught me. Because sometimes, because in this new world we are in now, people are looking for content, that natural content that shows me when I was in labor. My family wasn't around, nobody was around. You're the only person who lost, took a video of me in labor. Can you see me? So sometimes, wait now, I'm just telling you that the reason why a young person will take an advantage of an opportunity, you see content, you record it because you feel that this person might even need this content. I remember that when I share how I looked on my sick bed, when I had the accident, when my brothers and sisters, my brother and my sister-in-law described what they saw, I only had one wish, that they took a picture. Because I could only refer to what their stories were. Say your leg was tied up, or your face was bandaged, your lips were swollen, your eyes were bulged out, the machine was hooked out to your body, and I was all bandaged up. Now, they didn't think at the time, this was years ago.
You know why?
They didn't think because we're all traumatized, obviously.
But you know why?
Because the social media was, if for social, no,
okay, finish.
Social media was in there. At that time, there's a possibility that they were taking a picture.
You're talking of family.
There's a possibility.
No. So, are you done? When people that love you, when they see you in some situations, the last thing on their mind is to be taking a picture of what you look. In fact, that's what they want to never see again about you. That is something that they hope that they would never have to see about you ever again. That's people that love you. When a person comes into the state where you are most vulnerable and wants to document it without your permission and put it up on social media without your consent, there's no love there. It's to embarrass you, it's to make you feel small, it's to empower them for whatever reason, for them to take advantage, it's taking advantage. That's different. Before social media, my second child, my husband was in there and he took some videos and some pictures. I remember one of my aunts was saying, she was like, don't show me. I can't believe you went through this pain. Do you understand? That's what when people love you, they don't want to see you going through that thing over and over again. I understand you may be curious, but understand those people that did not take it because they loved you. So let's just say you've come out of it, or even before you finish coming out of it, mentally you're trying to get yourself. You find out that there was a nurse that actually took a selfie of you in that state. How would you feel, Morayo? Tell the truth. I will
take the picture and I'll keep it. I have evidence of what I went through. Okay. But it's looking at it in different ways. I will take the picture. Today, I'll have a picture to show you that this is what happened to me. See how God saved my life and where I am. So I'll have that evidence. The point I'm trying to make is that in 2024, taking a picture or recording a situation is usually content. Now, maybe not for posting for your personal use, but just to let you know that, see, this is what, when you're screaming in bed, you'll see what you look like. So at that moment, now somebody who probably cares for you will forward it to you.
Can we talk about what it takes to do those kind of videos? So you're in pain, and I want to do a video of you. I want to keep it just in case you might need it. My camera lens will be in front. Not with me trying to wave my head.
Thank you. I'm not in it.
I'm using you without your consent. You have not enlisted for this video. We did not discuss it. I did not tell you that this video. You wanted. And I will do like this. Of course. I'll do like this again. I'll use a selfie angle. That is actionable. There's no even, don't sweat it. Just call me. Let us help you to sue. Don't sweat it at all. You can't put a camera before loved ones. I took pictures of my late father when he passed. Because I know, aside the family, people will question, what happened? Who was there and what? But I didn't send it to any of my relatives. The moment I sat down and rationalized and said, whatever they want to do, if they are not satisfied with what I have said, they should do whatever they like. I deleted every single picture. Do you understand? You don't want to, that's not the memory of my loved one I want to keep. The memory of my loved one I want to keep are the beautiful times.
I have some very private pictures of my mom and last conversation we had that not a human being on this earth has seen. And I kept it to myself. Yes. And I don't plan to share that to anybody. Nobody needs to see it. I'm not sure my husband has seen it.
So imagine that I hack your phone. So imagine that I hack your phone now for trending. I said I help Morayo now. And I'll put it on my TikTok 10 million views page. Everybody now start to have comments. Because people don't share your sentiment about the things you love.
Yes.
If you share, once you put it out there, it's what I think, what Rama thinks, what Miriam thinks, and it can be anything. It can be the most damaging, the most destructive thing, and we'll be putting it with nonsense. Be saying we are being vocal, we are being kinikon, we put all of that. You don't want that.
I want to say something maybe in agreement with what you have said about people wanting pictures. So as I mentioned not too long ago, my friend lost her mom, and she was involved in taking, the final rites of getting her prepared. And she says her brother called her to say, did you take pictures? She was like, pictures? I didn't even think of pictures. I was prepared. But she had a friend who was there and was taking some pictures.
Yes.
But also, while that friend was taking those pictures, there was another sister who thought, Auntie, not this point, maybe another. Do you understand? So, yes, the people who love you, the first thing will not be let them take pictures. But the person who's also taking pictures has to be someone you trust, that person is handing over those pictures to you. And also, there are ways pictures are taken that you know it's about you, and it's done in a decent manner. And there are ways that pictures and videos are taken, and you know it's about content, it's about themselves. So if someone does not care for you and care for what you're going through, they will take this story in such a way, they will sensationalize it in such a way that it makes you look bad. And for me, for the sake of no problems at all, do not take pictures of anyone unless they open their mouth and say, take the picture, and then you are not the front and center of that video or picture. That person is, and you hand it over and be discreet about it. That's
how it should be. I'll come to you, Ramatu. Funto, thanks for calling. You're live. Hello, Funto, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, good morning.
Morning.
Well, I'm so sorry. I want to speak to you.
Go ahead.
The point is that one can. Okay, thank you.
You listen to the TV. Listen to me, please. Go ahead.
The point is that I can't hear what you are saying, but at the same time, I have the opportunity to speak to you, and that is why I'm speaking now.
Okay.
Now that you are listening to me, it's no point.
She's listening to the TV. You have to cut it
There's
off.
no point that one should speak louder.
You listen to the TV, so it's delayed. There's a point that Mariam made earlier, and I'd like to go back to. Like the ethics of taking a picture of like, remember somebody died, maybe they drowned, and you're already recording what happened and posting it even before the family is aware.
Exactly.
The ethics of this. We're going to break when we come back, because this modern times of people just taking pictures, taking the liberty to record and the most private or distressful situations of people who their loved ones rather have it private. We come back, we'll discuss that. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So, new times, new rules, new behavior. People are taking pictures, videos, everybody's looking for content. And I was saying before the break that, there was an accident that happened, and people were taking videos of dead bodies, even before the family even knew that was their loved one that was there. And these are some of the things that we don't consider before taking these pictures and posting on social media, because in their own mind, for a young person, I'm just trying to let the world know what happened. And we don't want anybody to change the news or maneuver or manipulate the news. I'm trying to tell you what happened. It happened on NSAS to tell us exactly what happened, show us the evidence as it's happening. As people are dying, record it and show and post. We were grateful for all the NSAS pictures we saw, because it happened. But if a loved one was amongst those who were killed, you're now wondering, okay, would I have liked that? So is the ethics of it, how do we maneuver, where's the line we can draw between providing information real time and also protecting people's privacy? It's been blurred.
Amos, you want to go?
Well, I think we should protect people's privacies, honestly, because I can remember Mohbad's death. They took a picture of him. Up till today, anytime I think of that picture, I still feel somehow, because he was in his coffin and his neck was bent. He was like, the coffin wasn't done for him. He was bent and all. Up till today, I still feel, anytime I remember that death, I still feel pains in me and all.
Yeah.
So I think there should be privacy in, taking pictures of the dead. I think there should be
Even
privacy
living.
in that.
So professionally, what I learned one time when I had lost a baby was that, they do pictures. So I was in the process of evacuating the baby and all sedated, partly conscious and unconscious. I just heard my husband saying to one of the nurses, drop your phone. How do you have your phone? How did you get your phone in theater and everything? And so when I became conscious, I waited for that story. He didn't drop it. After about 5 days, I asked him what happened about a phone in the theater. I said, one of the nurses had a phone and he thought she was making a video, but he doesn't think anything of it. I just pretended like it was normal. I said, I need to go to the hospital for a check. And he took me. He didn't expect. I waited for him to go to the car. I went to there. I said, look me in the eye. Very well. You're in trouble. We'll kill ourselves. I see my picture, my baby's picture, anything. And she had to apologize. They said it was part of a hospital routine to do that video. But nobody had informed me throughout my stay in the hospital of such an incident, such an eventuality. In case any of this happens, we might need
evidence, just in case something happens.
And it should be exclusively my prerogative whether you want to do my video or not. And if you do have my video, the entire content is mine.
Yes.
It shouldn't be at any point, because I had to call a friend abroad and she was like, even in their own hospital, such babies are even waxed. They will put their hand on their feet as a gift for the mother. Sometimes they will need meetings and, socks for the mother. So you have those things, they will frame them. You can keep them as memories. All geared towards the patient to help you heal. That measures like that, to encourage your healing. Maybe when you come out, because in Islam, I believe that my baby did not die. My baby is waiting for me in the hereafter. And, maybe I want to keep such a memory item. But everything is focused on me. But, the way we are quick these days, kicking. If you're kicking me in such a vulnerable
Let me take this call from
it's actionable.
Kelvinson from Delta. Good morning, Kelvinson. Kelvinson, you're live.
Yeah, hello. Good morning.
Kelvinson.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Very clearly. Go ahead, please.
Okay, I'm watching your program right here from my television.
Okay.
I really enjoyed the topic you just... Okay. Yeah, I enjoy your program this morning. Yeah, the topic you brought up now.
Don't listen to the TV, listen to me. Go ahead, you are live. We can hear you.
Okay. In terms of content creator, many people take laws into their hands by using someone predicament. By using someone predicament as a content without consult.
You have to disconnect the call. Please, when you call a live show, just speak to me. What you hear on television is delayed. So if you're listening to the TV, you're going to be messing up the communication. But yeah, you're going to come.
Yes, okay. You were saying, how do you separate when it's for, when it's done right, for evidence, and then when it's, so context is very important. And that's why we talk about emotional intelligence. But I'm now realizing that for some of the things that when we were growing up, we understood as common sense is not common anymore. That's one thing I used to hate, but now I think we have to bring that saying back, that common sense is not common. And so we need to start teaching people about common sense. If you don't teach that sense, it is not common. In a war situation, you're taking pictures and videos, you're bombing your houses, soldiers, armed robbers have come. That's a whole different context. And a human being, an adult human being, even a child understands that that's a different context than a nurse or a doctor or someone or a professional that is supposed to be helping you and decides to use the opportunity to film themselves flicking their hair, Snapchatting it as they go. Do you understand? There's a difference when you're taking evidence. If you're in a war situation, I'm sure she will not be in that flicking her hair and whatever. You'll be so afraid. Right. But when you are in a situation like, the one that we're discussing now, and it's really about empathy about that person, you would face the camera to them and you would give them that evidence. It's even, I had a surgery also some time ago, and I remember the things that they were giving me. It included the video of the whole procedure. I remember the Oyinbo doctor was like, oh, we took out this thing from your stomach. It was such the most beautiful color. I said, Oli Oyinbo. I reject it in Jesus' name. It's out of my body, you know. So, but, you know, it was handed over to me. It was not, and of course I signed a form, you know. I knew that that was going to happen. And it was supposed, for me, like for you, to remember what it is that I went through. I never watched it because for me, it was done, you know, and dusted. So we understand, human beings, adult human beings, understand context. They understand that there are some things that are sacred, they are vulnerable, they should be respected. And there are some things that is for evidence. I'm finding that many Nigerians do not understand that. We have talked about, you know, where our elders went for a particular funeral and were throwing jabs at each other. We're talking about people in their 60s throwing jabs at each other at a funeral. Common sense is not common anymore. We're doing so many things. So when our younger ones, our children and their friends are doing things, you know, it's hard for us to talk because we have done bad things. So now we have to sit down and have a school of common sense, a school of empathy, a school of respect, so that we can learn how to behave better.
Macy from Rivers, thanks for calling. You live.
Good morning.
Morning.
Watching from this video that they just showed, what that nurse was doing was so heartbreaking because she would have done something to help that young woman. Now, there are some cases that you see that a pregnant woman, before you know, from 1% after checking the CM of a pregnant woman, before you know, within few minutes, because some person's body, they open differently.
Yes.
You won't even imagine that from just that bit that this woman is making this video, the woman has gone up from 1% to straight up to 9%. Now, this woman in question making this video, she's doing it without the consent of this woman. From this video, so much in pain. Now, I could remember when I had my first, I was in labor for almost 4 days. I had my first child. When I was in labor, they had to tell me to walk up the stairs of the clinic. When I got up to the stairs of it, one of the nurses there she was telling me that when I was enjoying when I was enjoying myself with my husband, I didn't feel this kind of pain. Now you don't reach now. Some kind of statements that are heartbreaking.
Thank you for reminding us.
Thank you so much.
Before being a nurse, you are a human first.
Thank you.
Before you become anything, that you are a human first. I don't know what.
Thank you very much, Mercy. It goes back to youthful exuberance. And I think with something, listen, it goes back to
what you reminded us of.
Youthful exuberance, because young people make a lot of errors.
Yes, that's
what I'm seeing is in my own head. A young girl just graduated from school. She's now got a job in the hospital. It's her first job. It's her very first time she's taking care of a pregnant woman. She's excited. You know, she feels like, listen, her mom is going to be happy and proud of her that she's the one caring for a whole nursing mother. I mean, the mother was about to have a child. So she's taking a selfie, just evidence. I think my very first one, she even had the BP machine thingy on her hand. And she was, so it's possible she just had that excitement, like, listen, I just took her BP, she's in labor, I'm the one thing I've been assigned to her, I'm just taking evidence of payment. So it's part of that young feel of, listen, it's our world. Everything in our world is documented. We record it, we take a selfie, we post it, we keep it as evidence of the work we've done. It's the new world we live in. You might not understand it because in your world, you didn't have those. But in their world, it's normal.
So nursing is a very professional, very detailed profession. The training is so detailed that
maybe they stop training them.
They don't finish training. No. When they finish that, they have 3 years.
Yes, I have stories.
So for those that even do the 3 years or those who do the degree in nursing, I think degree in nursing lasts is 5 years.
Yes.
So when they finish, they are already they come with experience because you spend your entire training in hospital. You cannot now say you have useful, you are non-professional. You have disgraced the profession.
Exactly.
If you have a BP machine in your hand, a patient in labor by your side, and you have a chance to use the last hand to open, something is wrong with you upstairs. It is not useful exuberance. It is unprofessionalism. It is immaturity. It is lack of empathy. You are not human. It must be something else. You won't have time to have makeup on point.
She's a nurse. She's not an old lady nurse. She's a modern nurse.
We need to talk about the olden days nurse. The last caller brought us to. Those ones who we ask you, when you were doing one leg up, as if you saw.
No, that is so disrespectful. And that one is not youthful exuberance. That was Nigerianism. Our Nigerian attitude where you just open your mouth and just speak to people. That was wrong. But I'm going to say something in your defense. Mommy, I'm going to give this story. Please don't be angry with me. Youthful exuberance happens. Yeah. Young people make mistakes. My mom told me of a mistake she made as a young nurse. So sorry. She said that she had been overseeing a patient. She was a young, I think she was still in nursing school. So you get to work in the ward sometimes. And the person she was overseeing passed on the night before. First thing in the morning, the wife comes in and asks, where is... And she goes, oh. Person asked, but the woman grabbed her. Neck. The neck. Yes. Because there's a protocol. Yeah, but she did not understand. She was quite young and she thought she was doing the right thing. So that happens. Yeah. So that's the only reason why I say for this girl, maybe she should not lose her job, but she should go through some disciplinary action. Yeah. You know, I always say that we should give children, young people, grace. Yeah. But also, it makes me question the schools of nursing and what they are teaching them. As I said, you get the documentation, the certificate, for the hard skills. We need to start talking about the soft skills. So nurses, you're saying that the younger nurses don't understand many things. They don't understand. I would go to the hospital. I tell my mom, I would go to the hospital. If I met a young nurse, she will remove, and I'm supposed to take an injection, she will take it, pia, pia, pia. But an older nurse will explain to me, you're about to take this injection, show you the bottle. I'm supposed to give you something mils of it, explain to you and show you, and I'm about to give it to you. My mom would say to me that when you go to the hospital and a nurse doesn't say ask them, you know, because it's required that they do that. So there's a lot that we had, the good things that we had, we're not passing it on to the next generation. We need to do that.
So that's why I'm saying let's not use the sledgehammer.
Yeah, I get that. That's the only reason.
These does
not look like, she doesn't look like someone that
it's not about looking at her. It's not about mistake. So she's actually taking a 5 seconds video cannot give you that information. Let's not assume that, oh, this one is not, because the truth is that she could be and she may not be. But what I see, we are all seeing things from different lenses, and that's understandable. But I just see a young girl excited. I can see joy. She's happy. She doesn't look like a frustrated Nigerian nurse. Many Nigerian nurses are frustrated. They hate their job. This girl looks happy, proud of what she's doing. She looks like she's excited of this new profession. So this is a proud Nigerian nurse. Unfortunately, maybe she was just being overzealous and in the excitement and just wanted to capture the moment. I'm just trying to make us understand that this new world, we that think in a different world, how do we marry our own common sense to what is sensible to a young person today? For her, it doesn't make it, I'm just recording you. Hey, I'm going to send it to you. And maybe it's even her, maybe she eventually got permission from the lady in labor to post it. But the point is that I've recorded it. For you, she's doing you a favor. She's recording you in labor. That's content your husband doesn't have. That's content your family doesn't have. I'm getting you content. I'm going to send it to you. Silly. So in the world they're living in right now, it's all about content.
Dramati, you want to go? Because I have one example of how to marry it. So as you know, I do book reading in schools. And from the get-go, I knew personally, my sense, thank you, Mommy, for raising me well, that I would go to the schools. I would never take pictures. If you look at the videos, you would always see the children from the back. If you see their faces, I was given express permission to take their faces. I would send those videos before I post them on my social media to the school to, to vet it, to approve whether I should put it on social media or not. I did not need anyone to tell me because I understood that this is private. Because also, personally, also, if you look at, you would never see a picture of my children in their school uniform on my social media. The only time you would have seen my child in school uniform was my son when he was graduating from that school, not in that school anymore. There's just some things I feel is just common sense, you know. Yes, we understand that if people now will give you consent, like the woman in labor giving a nurse consent. That's weird to me. I would never give anybody that sort of consent. But we now understand that people can do that. Morayo would not have minded if a random nurse had taken a picture of her in that vulnerable state. If I was your relative and I was there and a nurse tried it, as you know me, I will break quite delicately that nurse into tiny pieces.
Let me take that for Let me take the call. Excuse me for broadcast. You're live. Thanks for calling.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. Right. So I want to say something. That this is something
I can't hear you. No, the line is breaking. We got a lot of calls from River State today. Almost all our calls are from Port Harcourt today. Let's take a few comments on social media on this.
We have the kids on Twitter. She's saying your loved ones would not want you to document your pain. If they do, it wouldn't be in the public. It won't be for public consumption. But we have plenty of people on YouTube.
Okay,
After
so let me...
You know, these days, some children have started going into that profession for the pride in it and not for the care and compassion, which should be the first qualification in the profession. Go on, Mary.
Okay, so there Hafsa, she said even the soft skill is part of the training, Mariam. Where do you think the older ones learn it from? They are just being Gen Z.
I'm thinking that they're not teaching them the soft skills. Is what I'm feeling.
I think I'm also guilty. I think I've shared with you guys privately. There was a time I told my husband about somebody who I thought had died. Somebody my husband loves, an international artist. He loves this person to pieces. And I thought the person had died because I got news about the person dead.
Yes,
and I told my husband the person, and he burst out in a lot of emotions. And I was recording. I said, I cannot lose this content. I must record because my husband was literally getting so emotional. He was just going on, and he was very crying. I was like, this is for me as a 2024 adult.
And a media person.
I cannot lose this content.
Yeah.
And you don't get men crying very easy. I had to press record. He said, why are you crying? I can't write. Do you know how important it is? Till tomorrow, he doesn't know that I have this video.
Now he knows.
Because God forbid, no, he's not going to watch TV. Maybe that person eventually, I can just post it to him and say, listen, I have this video, but I kept it because it was content. We all have that content that we just feel like, listen, we have to grab the content. Now, when you post it, how you post it, who you post it to is a different conversation. But whether you saying that somebody will not record you, it's a very, very difficult thing to assume.
Whether you like it or not, you have done something wrong to him. You've taken a vulnerable situation. I've recorded without his consent. Thank God he's your husband. You sort it out. But also, you are respecting him still. By not releasing that content. Do you see that you love this person, you respect this person, that this is content that would have been fantastic for you, you know how the viewership, and yet you're holding on to it because you still need his permission to show this. So that's what we're asking people. Just show respect. There's no big deal. It's just show respect. Let's understand what this respect is for the other person. This world is not all about you. It's not all about your content. It's not about all about viewership. There are also other human beings that live in this world with you. And if people were to do to you what you do to them, how many of us would be left in this world? You know, we'll be so angry with each other. We're just asking young people to learn respect. We understand that you'll be making mistakes, but please learn from your mistakes so that the next generation will not even do worse.
I like the part Ramatu came in concerning the Mobad. You saw a lot of gory photos.
Don't forget it.
We got a lot of pictures. I mean, thank God I didn't see many.
I didn't see those.
Intentional not to watch out. So I didn't even see this one you're talking
about.
Now
that you have described this, now in my head.
But the point is that time, I remember people talking about these pictures. Who are those people? They were actually taking those photos.
They are going
so it's a context in which people feel the need to have evidence of how this person passed on.
So we have to.
I was buried.
Junior Pope passed.
Yes.
Not only the people who were supposed to help him to the hospital make videos of him. I saw all of them.
I
saw everything.
I saw everything.
With cotton wool in his nose.
So one actor,
or would we rather
I'm very not thankful.
No, I don't want to see.
So there was a picture of him when he was confirmed dead. One actor said he had to post it because all of us want to know. Whereas we would have been fine in 2 days when we know he passed. Because now his family members have their loved one. And you know social media, you don't forget. Recently, one gospel artist died. And videos are just jumping to my face. I was like, which day will I want to learn this thing? You know, because you don't have the consent of the late person, of the dead person, to invade their privacy in such a manner. And I wish their family would take it.
They're helpless.
They're helpless. And you're going to clout on it. People are going to rush to you for source.
That's why you're doing it.
They're doing it for you.
For yourself.
And it's, the court should even, not ordinary, that's what they will do. All profit you made should be withdrawn.
Also those that go for maybe waykeeping.
And they are taking
waykeeping, or they went there for 7, they want to be there with the dead body. Lying in state. That's what
they are arriving at the door.
I meant lying in state.
With your life. You're already live.
Yes, lying in state.
There was one popular influencer that I followed because of it. She was arriving with life, and then she went to the cops.
Are you serious? Yeah.
As in, do you stage crying? Do you stage it? So because as you are crying, you remember your camera on point. You see, even the thing before you shake and you balance them, then you went there. Please, how wicked and selfish can we be? It's a selfish word, yes, but that's the height of selfishness.
I've even seen a picture where there was one that was doing makeup on the cops. She put her camera by the side and was doing the makeup.
Was her mom. That was her mom. That was her mom. No. She said, I saw that video. She said she wanted her mom to enter heaven slaying. And so she put her camera by her side.
Everything.
That's her mom. And that's her mom. So that she get the body anyway.
Anyway, we have to go. Let's just take a few comments and then we wrap up. But
Already?
Really?
Deborah says, I think many people are distracted with content making so as to make money. If due money is given to each profession and accountability is required, I think people will sit well and learn what and how.
And when people choose to sue, people ask, why are you suing now?
You have
to sue to teach some people lessons. But I think really, as I said, I just hope that we can learn to be more respectful, be emotionally intelligent, and be more sensitive to people's private content.
You got that.
That's all we can take on today's show. Hope you learned a few things that we have. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.